Most people think if a watch looks expensive, it has to be expensive. But that's not how it works. Because once you understand what actually makes a watch feel premium, you start noticing something. It's not just the brand, it's not just the price, it's the details. And some watches get those details right, without the luxury price tag. And Seiko has been doing that quietly for years. So in this video, we're looking at 5 Seiko watches that make absolutely no sense for the price. Let's start with one that doesn't look like it should be this affordable. This is where Seiko stops feeling like a value brand. The Presage sharp-edged series is built around detail, and you notice that immediately from the dial. The texture isn't random. It's inspired by a traditional Japanese pattern called asanoha, and under light, it creates sharp reflections that give the watch a much more premium look than you'd expect. The case design follows the same idea: flat surfaces, defined edges, and a mix of brushed and polished finishes that feel precise and well executed. It doesn't look soft or basic, it looks structured, almost architectural. And that's a big part of why it stands out. The case is around 39 millimeters, which makes it very wearable, and it sits comfortably on the wrist, without feeling too big or too small. You also get sapphire crystal and a solid steel bracelet, adding to the overall quality. Inside, it uses Seiko's 6R35 automatic movement, with around 70 hours of power reserve, which is well above average at this price. That means you can leave it for a couple of days and it keeps running without any issue. It also features a transparent case back, so you can actually see the movement in action, which adds another layer to the experience. And once you see it in person, the way it plays with light makes it feel even more refined than it does on paper. And that's where it becomes interesting. Because this isn't just about design, you're also getting strong specs and finishing together. A watch that looks refined, feels balanced, and honestly, doesn't match what most people expect at this price. This is where Seiko starts competing with watches that cost way more. The Speedtimer Panda stands out immediately because of its dial. The white background with black subdials gives it that classic Panda look, something usually associated with much higher-end chronographs. But this isn't just about design. This watch runs on a solar quartz chronograph movement, which means it's powered by light and doesn't need battery changes, while still giving you the accuracy of quartz. And that combination makes it extremely practical for everyday use. The case is around 39 millimeters, which is a perfect size for a chronograph. Not too big, not too small, and it wears very well on the wrist. You also get sapphire crystal, solid finishing, and 100 meters of water resistance, making it durable enough for daily wear. The layout of the dial is well balanced, with clear subdials and sharp markers that keep everything readable without feeling crowded. And that's not always easy with chronographs. It also has a strong connection to Seiko's history, inspired by the original Speedtimer models from the late 1960s, which adds more depth to the design. The pushers have a satisfying feel when you use the chronograph, and the overall build gives you that solid, well-made impression. And once it's on the wrist, the contrast of the dial makes it stand out even more in different lighting conditions. And that's what makes it stand out. Because this isn't just a good-looking watch, it's a chronograph that combines heritage, practicality, and design in a way that feels far more expensive than it actually is. This is where Seiko brings character into the mix. The baby Alpinist doesn't look like a typical sports watch, and that's exactly why it stands out. The deep green dial is one of its strongest features, with a sunburst finish that changes depending on the light, giving it a much more dynamic look than most watches in this range. But this watch isn't just about aesthetics. It's built with a stainless steel case, sapphire crystal, and 200 meters of water resistance, making it a true everyday sports watch that can handle different conditions without any problem. The case is around 38 millimeters, which makes it very wearable and comfortable on almost any wrist. It has that perfect balance between sporty and refined, so it works just as well casually as it does in slightly more dressed situations. Inside, it uses Seiko's 6R35 automatic movement, offering around 70 hours of power reserve, which puts it ahead of many competitors at this price point. It's reliable, simple, and built for daily use. One detail that stands out is how clean the dial feels, even with the date window and markers. Nothing feels crowded, and everything is easy to read. And once you wear it, the versatility becomes obvious. It's the kind of watch that fits almost anywhere without looking out of place. And that's what makes it interesting, because this isn't just a good-looking sports watch. It's a well-balanced piece that combines durability, design, and wearability in a way that feels far more premium than expected. This is where Seiko focuses on pure practicality. The solar Speedtimer takes the same idea as traditional chronographs, but makes it easier to live with every day. At first glance, it keeps that sporty look, with clean subdials and a balanced layout. But the real advantage is how it works. This watch runs on a solar movement, meaning it's powered by light and doesn't need battery changes. And that makes a big difference, because you get the look and function of a chronograph without the usual maintenance. The case is around 39 millimeters, which is a very comfortable size, and it sits well on the wrist without feeling bulky. You also get sapphire crystal and solid finishing, which adds to the overall durability. The dial is designed to stay readable, even with multiple subdials, and that's something Seiko does really well. Everything feels clean and easy to use. It also includes chronograph functionality and strong everyday reliability, making it a watch you can actually depend on without thinking about it too much. The bracelet and overall finishing give it a more premium feel than you'd expect at this price point. And in different lighting, the dial details become more visible, which adds more depth to the design. And that's where it stands out. Because instead of trying to impress with complexity, it focuses on usability. A watch that gives you everything you need in a way that feels simple, practical, and surprisingly refined for the price. This is where things stop making sense for the price. The Seiko 5 Sports is one of the most accessible watches in Seiko's lineup. But once you actually wear it, it doesn't feel like an entry-level piece at all. The design is sporty, inspired by classic dive watches, with a strong presence on the wrist and a look that feels much more expensive than it should. The case is around 42 millimeters, with a solid stainless steel build that feels durable and well-made. You also get a hardlex crystal and 100 meters of water resistance, which makes it practical for everyday use without feeling fragile. Inside, it uses Seiko's automatic movement, meaning it's powered by motion, not battery. And that's a big deal at this price point, because you're getting a real mechanical watch experience without spending much. The dial is simple but effective, with bold markers and hands that keep everything easy to read. And the variety of colors and styles makes it easy to find something that fits your taste. On the wrist, it feels comfortable and reliable. And that's what makes it stand out. It's not trying to be complicated or high-end, but it delivers more than expected in almost every area. And that's where it becomes interesting. Because for the price, you're not supposed to get this combination of design, durability, and automatic movement. But with this watch, you do.